Hello everyone, this is Danielle from Cageless Readings. So I have a little bit of a cold, so we're gonna see how this reading goes. Okay, so we are gonna be looking at why did this connection lose contact or fall away, and I'm leaving this open to being like friends, maybe it was romantic partners, maybe even as parents or family members. Really just wanted to leave it pretty open because sometimes we have a lot of love for someone and for whatever reason we just sort of grow apart or end up going in different directions. So what we're going to be looking at is the energy of person 1, and then we're going to do an energy of person 2, so you can resonate with 1 or 2, whichever one works. And then I pulled some cards asking what direction person 1's headed in, and same thing for person 2. What direction are they heading in? And then I pulled cards for the connection, just asking what lessons needed to be learned or learnt, because you could be currently learning them through the separation or the loss of contact of this relationship. Or it might just bring clarity to why this person was in your life, why you felt so close, and then why all of a sudden there wasn't any relationship any longer. You might just have had to learn these lessons. So the direction I'm heading in with this reading is assuming that this relationship lost contact because you're both outgrowing each other, whether it's on a soul level or on a conscious level. And I just thought it would be nice to look into that a little bit deeper. So you have 3 piles to choose from. Pile 1 being this pyramid of Shungite. Pile 2, which is this piece of angel aura quartz or rainbow aura quartz. And pile 3, which is this piece of blue howlite. Okay, please remember to ground yourselves before choosing your piles, and I'll see you all in your card reading. So, pile 1, you chose this piece of Shungite, and it could be helping you with staying grounded and focused in what you know is best for you, what's aligned with you, staying true to a goal. It also helps balance the masculine and the feminine. So if in this case, I would see it as maybe being a stone that you're attracted to because it would help you grieve, say, the loss of relationship, but also know that there's better coming, that there's new excitement coming your way, that it's was time for that relationship to end. So let's see what you all got here. So person 1, I'm going to put by this little pyramid. So person 1, we have Lynx, Keeper of Secrets. The direction they're heading in, we have the Apostles to the Apostles. We have the Goddess of Discernment, the Saint of Authenticity. Might want to put that there. Okay, and then person 2, we have Horse and Freedom. And the direction that they're heading into, we have the Goddess of Abundance and Our Lady of the Hermits. Sure, just put those there. Okay, and then the lessons that need to be learned or are being learned right now. We have surrender to the idea that you can fix someone, and surrender your belief in scarcity. So that's what each person had to learn in this relationship. I just put those up here for the sake of the room that we have. There we go. Okay. And I think you can all see those now. Perfect. Okay, so my first impressions here, pile one, is that this is sort of a natural breaking of relationship. So how I see it is that these two people would have come together, and I actually I think it's friendship. I have a very like sisterhood bond energy coming through. So whether it was two females and you were so close, you might have felt like sisters or best friends. It could actually even maybe be like a sister, an actual sister. But I do get that there's just like a lot of energy around feeling very close. But the interesting thing coming through, so I was asking for the directions of each energy because that would tell me more about why the connection is fading or losing contact. And these two people are in completely different stages now. They're both being asked to honor themselves, and each looks so different. So for person one, they're being called to go more within and do a lot of internal work and really like honoring their energy limits, their energy boundaries. So if they give too much, they're learning how to honor the energy they have to give, how to really be themselves, and to get rid of like people pleaser tendencies if they have any. So if they like, I also think that person one is very empathic and they're very connected to that empathic side. So I see them as being someone who's really trying to learn how to hone in and honor the empathic side while also understanding that it can be a strength and not a burden. So if pile one feels like they're going in the direction of self-discovery and self-honoring on those sorts of boundaries, and really just understanding their own personal power. But a lot of this for pile one, person one, is that they are learning this about themselves. So it's an internal thing. They're not going outside of themselves. They're going to be doing more meditation, spending more time outdoors. I get that they might be channeling like automatic writing. There we go. You might be really drawn to reading lots and lots of books right now, and it seems like you can just find truth everywhere that you haven't been able to find. And there is something about embracing the power of their feminine too. Like I know I did choose the divine feminine cards, but I feel like when I get this one, I feel like this is kind of like the strongest feminine energy I can get from this deck is this one, Mary Magdalene. I feel like she's kind of like the master ruler of the Kundalini energy and of the divine feminine in my perspective. So when this came out for person one, I'm just like, they're really going on an internal discovery journey. But that being said, person two is also going on their own journey where person one, it's really important that this comes from within, and it's really like discovering oneself and discerning for yourself what's best for you. And I think the reason why person one's going through this is because I think just with like the energy I see of like being empathic, and I hate to say it, but a lot of people who are very empathic can tend to be people pleasers because you feel other people's emotions and you tend to want to help them feel more comfortable. So you can tend to change what you would normally do or normally want to do because you feel so much compassion. So I know when people hear people pleaser, it sounds really bad, but it just really means that you haven't learned how to set a boundary around feeling other people's stuff, but also honoring yourself before you try to help that other person. So that's why it's so internal for person one. Person two is like the opposite. It's almost like they need to go discover themselves by going out there more, by seeing more what's out there, by like meeting more people, hearing new stories and new experiences, and doing, I almost get like crazy things. Like this person, pile two, or person two, sorry, like the horse freedom. Your heart is pure and free. A greater purpose calls you. Everything about this energy is like they just need to get out and move and find new people, new experiences. And it doesn't mean that they don't love the people they're leaving behind. They're just on this extreme calling to just go find out who are they. But they need to like, it's funny, it's the same journey but different measures that you need, where person one really needs that internal reflection, but I think that's because person one already knows who they are a little bit better than person two does. Person two needs to go see what they do like and what resonates and what doesn't resonate, and open their mind to the possibilities that they didn't even know could exist out there. And say maybe in 5 years, I think it will be a little bit of a journey for person two. We'll say 2 to 5 years. They'll probably be more in this energy that person one is in. But for right now, the energies are so opposite. Similar, like I said, but so opposite. They're not on an inner journey in any way. And I like us as goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. Like everything about person two is like, go out there, do energy. So if we were going to explain it, I would say this person's more in the divine feminine, and this one needs to be more in the masculine energy of doing. But through that doing, this person is going to be learning so much about them. So I don't want to say it's only masculine energy, because I do feel some feminine energy, but it's very yang. It's like they're just learning who they are. So I don't know for sure age groups for this pile. But I would think these are people who are still young adults, or I would even say maybe young 30s. Just like maybe you went to university right after, and you just didn't have a lot of time to like explore yourself. You're always busy. Maybe you had kids young, and finally they're at an age where they can be a little more independent and not need you all the time. Like I just feel like if this person isn't like in the early 20s, it's because they just had a life where they were too busy to explore themselves or have the freedom to say travel to Thailand. Like I think this is what this person would be doing, this pile too. Going to Thailand, going to South America, backpacking. I just feel such exploratory energy for a person too. So it's really cool to see this in the sense that I can see why there would have been a really strong bond between these two people. And I don't honestly know if this is one of those relationships where it doesn't come back in like 5 years or something like that. I mean, I don't see, I mean, this is just me looking in, and I'm looking obviously at the higher self and what's going on. But on like a soul level, I feel like the energy between these two people is still very good. Like there's still a lot of love and respect for each one, but they're just in such different stages that it almost, this relationship, you could try to stay in contact, but it almost might do more, like it might, what's the word? It wouldn't do the relationship justice, because you'd be having maybe more like surface level conversations with where each person is at. That I would almost think this is one of those relationships where if you do come back together, and if you do find yourselves living in the same city again or in the same place, I think it will be one of those things where it's like in a few years, and then the memory is really strong of how good this relationship was, because you didn't like diminish it by trying to hold it together when you each just needed to go on your own journey. I hope that makes sense. It's almost like, you know, if you have a really good friend, if you don't see them for a while, you still can pick off right where you left. That's how I feel this pile is going to be. Like right now, there could be some hurt on letting the relationship go. Like when I was looking at the lessons here, surrender the idea you can fix someone, and surrender your belief in scarcity. So I almost saw this as, and I do get it a little more for person one, only because person two is just like chasing a dream and is like living I would almost see like they're stepping out of fear. I think they might have lived in some fear before for person 2, and some like maybe scarcity mindset, or like I can't do that kind of mindset, but something has changed and they're going for it now. And I don't feel like they are so much learn. I think this is a lesson they already learned for the scarcity. So it says the universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. So yeah, I think horse person has already learned that, or has learned that maybe even because of the lynx person. Maybe they taught that to them in some way in this relationship. But I do think for the lynx person, it is now learning to surrender to the scarcity mindset. And I think it's only around this relationship being so treasured and valued. And like I said, it felt like really strong sisterhood energy, that I believe it's almost like this fear of not finding that again, or the fear that there's only one person that you can have that type of relationship with. So it's very interesting. So it's definitely that the lesson for this person right now is to let go of the belief that you will not have a relationship as good as this or better in the future. And that even this relationship, if it goes away for even, I get the impression, I get like 5. They keep saying 5. So I don't know if that's 5 years, 5 months, whatever it is, something with 5, that it could even be 50. I don't know, 50-year-olds. I don't know. But I get that they're saying like the lesson is that you can get whatever you need from yourself, and that you can have these types of relationships with so many more people than you realize. And that I think you're going to find that you're going to, like, I think this friendship was so great in like that sister way, but I think you're going to find some friends if you're person 1. I feel like I've been talking more like this pile is person 1, but yeah, I really think that you're going to go deeper within yourself. And I do think you're going to find like a larger sisterhood of women. So this, I believe, is one female that has been like a good friend or like a sister to you for a very long time. And I think was always just one female. But I think coming through this, once you learn this lesson of like letting go of scarcity, or thinking that this is a one in a lifetime opportunity, that you're going to realize that you're going to find like a tribe, like a group of women that are going to understand you on this deeper, more mature level that you're heading. And not to say that this relationship wasn't mature, but I feel like you came together through like your youth and through like it says like young adulthood, adolescence. There we go. That's the word. Adolescence. Like you're showing me the letters, but I couldn't pronounce the word. Okay. But I think this, like, I just see a lot of strong women coming in. So I really think this file is going to have like a solid group of people behind them that are going to be like aligned, like I said, with this new version of you, this more mature, fully embodied, powerful version of yourself. And I even think that's a little bit of why this relationship had to go their own way, is not just like the need each person was having is so different to essentially get the same lesson learned, but also because I feel like this is how you break out of I don't want to say childhood, because I know this pile isn't a child, but I get just like old patterns. Like they keep talking about like that, like if there's any, like if this person was your best friend since you were like a preteen or a teenager, I feel like this relationship separating and say you're like 25 or like 30, whatever this parting is going to do, it's going to cause both of you to let go of the identity of being like 18 or 16, even though you're not that age. You're really gonna like grow into yourselves, but in the best way. I don't want that to sound bad. I know it could sound bad, but it's almost like this relationship was keeping each other kind of stuck in those younger years, but you're ready now both to grow and be the next chapter of you. And and then the surrender to the idea you can fix someone. So what I like about this too is like this also really goes with that energy I was saying of like that teenage young adult energy. Like I feel like you both accept each other for all your like baggage and all your shit, but I think one of these people had like some destructive patterns, or both did in different ways. Like I think that I think that the Lynx person was too much of a like what's the word I want to use here? I'm trying to be careful with how it comes off. Like I think Lynx person attracted in people who were controlling and took advantage of them because they were so nice and compassionate and overgivers. And I think horse person might have done some like, what's the word? How do I put it? Like I almost get like the energy of like they wanted the attention so badly that they could do some self-destructive things. So maybe if it was a female, for example, maybe they like would do a lot of things to get attention from men, but they didn't necessarily want the guy, but they felt only valued if the guy was seeing them that way. Like it's interesting. They're showing me like dynamics like that. Like what, like I think Lynx person was kind of like the peacekeeper, kind of like a bit of a parent to the horse person. The horse person was like a wounded person who needed to learn their value and their beauty in the world. And I think each other were trying to fix each other. Like horse person was trying to get Lynx person to have more confidence and stand up for themselves more, where Lynx person was trying to like parent and take care of horse person and get them to see that they were beautiful just as they were, and they didn't need like to change who they were to be so loved or something like that. So I almost even see like this, you can't fix someone, they have to kind of do their own work. I think this is a lesson that's still being learned for each person. This one feels also a little bit more for the Lynx person, only because I don't think the horse person is fully there yet. Like, I don't know if the horse person sees it as they were trying to fix the Lynx person, or just more so that they were trying to take the Lynx person under their wing. So, I'm not saying that they don't need to learn the lesson, but I think the Lynx person's in a place, like especially with the direction you're going in, of really reflecting and understanding things, and like the people you attracted in, why you attracted them in, how people treated you, why they did it, and you're seeing how like you had the role that you played that got people to treat you that way, and vice versa. And I just think the Lynx person is going a lot deeper into it, where the horse person is going to be on that track. Like I do see that the horse person has this in its future, but like I said, I think it's a ways out. So in some ways, the Lynx person has to let go of the horse person so that they can actually evolve to this deeper level, to this discernment, authenticity, true to themselves, more spiritual, more self-growth aspect. And I know that's hard to hear because like the horse person is great. The horse person is that person who cheers you up and has crazy ideas and you just love them. And they're great. They're a great person. Don't get me wrong. They're actually absolutely wonderful. But if you're trying to go deeper and really like do this personal work, I think you have to release the horse person to get there, because the horse person, they're just not going within enough to understand the journey the Lynx person is going on. But like I said, like I don't want anyone to think that I'm dissing the horse person, because like I said, they're on their own different journey. Like the freedom, it's like it's its own beautiful thing. This horse person is going to bring so much joy into people's lives. They're going to travel. They're going to inspire so many people. But the energy I get from the horse person is that you're going to meet, if you are this person, you're going to meet a lot of people that are just meant to be in your life for a short time. You're not going to meet anyone in the next little bit that you're going to have this type of long friendship with. And that's okay. It's just not your purpose right now. You're really here just to experience it all, to like play around with what identity you want to have, with what feels right, what you feel called to do. And like I said, you're really going to inspire a lot of people. You're going to have a great time. Like the goddess of abundance, that's the direction you're going in. You're going to make some good connections. Maybe whatever this horse person ends up doing, it will, like, these years of travel and exploration and like not being pinned down to one place could be what helps them in their career in the future, because you'll have all these connections. It's tough to say, but like I said, each person has a very beautiful journey. It's just so different, and I can really see as the card reader why one would need to separate for a time to like learn more about themselves, each person. So I might just pull a couple of guidance cards for each person, because I don't know which one you're resonating with. I feel like this pile might be more Lynx energy with the friend or the sister who's a horse, but I don't ever know for sure. So let's just see here. You know what? I'm struggling a little bit with which deck to pull, but maybe I'll do Whispers of Love deck. Okay. So how can pile one, guidance for pile one on the time coming forward for them? Okay, maybe I shouldn't use this deck. Guidance. Okay. Guidance for pile 2 on the time coming forward for them. Okay. Yeah, I even feel like with the amount of cards I'm getting for each person 1 and 2 that there's a lot more people 1 here. Okay, so guidance, I have, sorry, it's so funny. As I was shuffling, they're like, we already gave you guidance cards. Look at what these cards say. So maybe we'll read these first, since they were pretty adamant they already gave you this. Okay, so it says, I spend my time wisely, and I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. Huge lesson for Lynx people right now. That is like the direction, what you're learning. Just stand strong and honor yourself. And you know that the yes isn't coming from feeling guilty or sad for someone else, but because you have the energy and you have the yes for yourself to help someone or do that. Okay, you're not feeling guilted in. That's what they're saying. You're releasing guilt. If you feel guilty, then you're not going to do it because it's not a yes for you. It's just an emotional manipulation. Then it says, I am authentic self in all circumstances. And this is like saying that you're going to learn to promise yourself that you're going to take yourself first, and that you're going to be who you are in all situations, even if you're not sure if that's what other people think is cool or something like that is the right person to be. And I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. And this is from that card I was talking about that really talks about embodying that powerful feminine energy, the emotional, beautiful, powerful side. And look at that. So your guidance cards that I just pulled was look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. I love that. This is so perfect for the guidance cards they had already given. And the number is 11, just to make it more beautiful. Definitely supported by your angels. And I just have to say, like, for the Lynx person, for sure is going through like a spiritual, like, revolution, upgrade, awakening, ascension, whatever words you like to use. That's definitely the energy for pile 1. Like, maybe you're just starting it. But I just feel like you're going to go deeper. You're going to go deeper, and it's going to be very healing for you. And even learning to like communicate with that inner strength of yours is also going to be very healing for you. Okay. Spiritual connection. A relationship has a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. So this actually I think is more of a comfort card. So like I was saying, like the love between these two people is definitely strong. And I like that this card comes through because it kind of reaffirms to me, at least, that that they're saying like you have to grieve this relationship now. Like don't come at it with the perspective that someday they will come back in, and you're like waiting and waiting and waiting for that, because they're saying like if in the end it doesn't happen, then you're already going to be at peace with it. But I do see like it says, the connection that goes beyond this lifetime. So I think you've probably got a few lifetimes behind each other's backs here, where you guys have been together before. It could have been in the same dynamic, could have actually been sisters in that lifetime. You could have been parents or spouses. You know, they have all sorts of crazy ways, but they're just saying no, that even if it doesn't come back together in this lifetime, that it's not the end. You'll have many more lifetimes together. This connection is strong. If you feel like there's a lot of love there, trust that, because there is. And just know that maybe it won't be the most aligned relationship for each other anymore. But like, yeah, I don't know. This is such a beautiful card, because it just basically says love is everlasting, and it like conquers death. Basically, it doesn't end with this life. It goes on and on. Yeah, and I just feel like you need to know that. Okay, guidance for the horse person. It says, I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job, and I transform pain and suffering into a greater capacity to love. So that's really beautiful. I think that even is why this person needs to go on this journey, is to really like, I don't know. I feel like they've had like a lot of internal pain, internal struggle with limiting beliefs that came from their upbringing or their social background, or the people in their lives that they felt like reaffirmed this kind of limiting belief system. And I think the part of the reason why they need to leave is to find that joy again, true joy within. Because I wouldn't be surprised if this horse person actually had like some depression or some like struggles with body image, for sure, maybe eating disorders, maybe some religious trauma. I'm not totally sure, but I do see like they really just need to get away, and they literally need a blank slate. They need just some joy, some good people, and to learn how to smile. Like, and I think the thing is that everyone thinks this person already is like that. But they don't really know on what level this person is struggling on the inside, which is kind of why they need to go get their freedom and get into a new state, get away from the things that are reaffirming their limiting beliefs. So it says, act as if your partner is here, whether you have someone in your life or not. Act as if they are with you, so you will always consider them. Oh, see, that's beautiful. I also think that this is one of these cards where I was saying, I got the energy that this person felt like their value was based on, I got like if they were seen as being attractive to men or loved by men. And I think that's like something they struggle with. This pile, I think, might be like romantics, or really just wanting like that amazing partnership. And I don't think that was what was going on in this dynamic. It didn't feel like that at all. So if you are here and you are like, this is someone you are dating, sorry, the majority energy is that it's like friendship or sisterhood. So you just take it as it resonates for you. But for this person, this horse person, I just get the guidance is just to find that person, to find that love of your life, to find the person that makes you feel that much joy and like that much attraction. And they just keep saying joy. Like, joy is so big for this pile. You just want to be happy. For this horse person. And they're just saying, act like the person you would want that person to date. Act like the person that you want to date would act. And that's going to be what gets you in that direction of that loving, supportive, balanced relationship. They talk a lot about balance for the horse person, and someone who is, I get like the yin to the yang. So that's funny. That might even be why this card and this Shungite thing was here, finding balance in yin and yang. Okay. So I'm not sure if that brought the clarity that this pile was hoping. But that was the messages that I got. So I just hope the best for you all, whether you're person 1 or 2. You have a lot of healing to do. Person 1, it's going to be the grieving the relationship that was lost. For person 2, it's going to be grieving the trauma and the depression that they've been battling for a long time within. So in both cases, though, there's so much love here, and it's just to both grow and step further into the journey that they're called to right now. This relationship needs to go its own ways to best serve each person. But I do think that someday they could come back together, or if not, they're saying this love will find each other again in another lifetime. This isn't a one-off. This isn't never again. This is definitely a love that comes back. Okay, you all have a beautiful day. So much love to you all. Sometimes these things are really hard, but it's just going in different directions for your healings. You all take care of yourself. Hello, Pile 2. So you all chose this piece of Rainbow Aura Quartz, and you could have been attracted to it because it helps balance out your emotions, specifically if you're having like really erratic emotions. So you might have some really big ups, some really big downs. It helps balance that. And it also helps with depression. And I just thought those could be applicable with the topic of talking about relationships that have lost contact. So without further ado, let's look at what each person got. And I forgot, this is the only pile for person 1 of pile 2 that I drew 2 cards. And as I was pulling cards, I just got the impression that this person can flip-flop between these 2 energies. So let's see what they are. Okay, we have Higher Calling, the Lion, Ram, Perseverance. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. I wasn't too sure what they would be. Okay, and then the direction of the energy that person 1 is going in. Oh, this is pretty. The Cosmic Egg, Divine Feminine, the Goddess of the Eternal Flame, and the Goddess of Light. Really cool. So interesting. I mean, I did obviously choose a Divine Feminine deck, but I feel like there's been a lot of feminine energy lately in the card readings. So it's just kind of interesting. It's coming up again. Okay, put those there. And then for person 2, the energy that they're in, we have the Black Jaguar, Old Soul, and the direction or energy they're going towards is the Warrior of Light and the Goddess of Compassion. Ooh, those are very powerful cards. Joan of Arc, cool. And then 3 cards for this one. So we had the lessons that you're learning or that were learnt in this relationship. We have Surrender to Procrastination. We have Surrender to Joy and Surrender Obsessive Thinking. Sorry, I need a little more room. And you know what? Let's put that there. Okay. So I'm kind of getting a feel for the energies here of person 1 and person 2. It is interesting because I'm trying, as like the card reader looking in, I'm trying to ask why this connection lost contact or stopped being in contact or fell away. And it's so interesting because the words they kind of gave me were past life relationship, sort of karmic relationship. And I get the impression that the Black Jaguar just sort of lost the romantic feeling in this connection. But even that I'm a little confused about. I'm a little fuzzy on, because I do see that there was some good stuff going on in this dynamic. And I should also say, sorry, I didn't mention this yet. This does feel very like romance relationship, especially with the obsessive thinking one. I have a hard time seeing this being in a friendship. If this is a friendship dynamic, um, it does feel like the reason why I would fall away is that it didn't feel very healthy. Don't get me wrong, obsessive thinking about your partner isn't necessarily healthy either, but it's even more unhealthy if it's your friend. So that would definitely be why, if it was a friendship. But I definitely think I feel more so romantic partnership as the majority vibe. But I actually get like these two people, whether you're person one, which is this lion ram, or person two, which is this black jaguar. It's like kind of confusing, because I'm like, oh, you both have like a very spiritual energies is what I'm getting. You both like the spiritual, so maybe you both kind of like hippie things or astrology, numerology, card readings. I'm not sure, but they're saying like there was like a spiritual connection in the fact that you both found spiritual really interesting. Yeah, the black jaguar actually think was perhaps a little more ahead in the spiritual world, or in the spiritual realm. Um, it doesn't mean that this person isn't going to be, but I just get that the black jaguar, like, I almost felt like this energy here feels like they're almost ready to go into like a shamanic practice or something, or start working as a spiritual healer, energy healer, something like that. Could be acupuncture, could be qi gong. I can never say it. Qigong, I think it's something. It's like a um, practice where you like move energy. Yeah, and then I get that this person one, I feel like they really liked like astrology and stuff, but they weren't quite in the same place that this black jaguar was with it. And I wonder if that's even like a really big point in this relationship, was the spiritual relationship that each person had. Yeah, it's interesting because it feels very important. Sorry, I just have to blow my nose. No, the other thing that's just sort of coming up as I'm like looking at this, I wonder if this is a relationship that really came together to sort of activate each other to go down a certain spiritual direction. And just like I was saying, I do feel like the Black Jaguar was already kind of into the spiritual realm, knew a little bit more about it, had a little more time with it. And I think they might even have like inspired or activated something within this lion and ram person. Because how I see like these two different journeys going now, like this is the splitting point. The black dragger, like I was saying, I get is like they're doing some kind of work in the spiritual realm. Like, I don't know, I get very shamanic vibes, but I just see like they're trying to pursue that as a career. Where I look over here at the lion and the ram, and I feel like you're on a different journey, just as beautiful though, in the sense that like this cosmic egg really sums it up really well. Like the divine feminine, like really learning your own value and power. And like it's, I don't know, that doesn't quite like sum it up. Like really understanding that you're a beautiful light, and that you, whatever you need, you can come from you. Like you can create everything, you can support yourself, you can be everything you need yourself to be. You don't need to look outside of yourself. And I really just feel like this is like a time of a birthing of your new identity. And it says, I hold the universe within me. I am the force of an ever expanding love. I just, those words feel so important for this pile, because I feel like previously, at the start of this relationship at least, that this lion ram person might have thought like they were so blessed or so grateful or so lucky to have the black jaguar as their partner, or to have them in their life. And you put like so much like, I don't know if the right word, it's like you didn't see how great you were. Like the black jaguar was just as lucky to have you. But I think this, you just had this mentality of thinking that, like it's almost weird. They're almost saying like you almost had a hierarchy where you're like they're so much cooler and better or more advanced or whatever it is, than you were. And so you were just lucky that they had given you their attention or allowed them to date you or whatever it was. But I think you're going to go on this little discovery now and realize that you are like just as valuable and as amazing and beautiful, and they were just as lucky. So it says, we all are sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. This one also is really neat because it kind of talks a little bit what I was just saying, like what you could see in the black jaguar, you have within yourself. Like we're all just mirrors, and the good and the bad we have within ourselves. And I think that this lion ram person is learning not to put so much, what's the word? It just slipped out of my mind. To not put so much on someone else and know that you can have all that yourself. I guess that's what I keep coming back to, is realizing that you are so great and you have all these beautiful qualities within yourself, and you're kind of on your self-discovery, finding your true value, finding joy within yourself journey. So how do I see this? It's so the surrender to joy. A key to positive change in your life is to let joy in and savor it. Indulge in random acts of smiling during both the hard and the easy times. Keep surrendering to more joy. So I actually do think that this was something the relationship had. I think there was a lot of joy, and there could be a lot of laughter and a lot of like cool, inspiring moments. And I think that's actually what you learned together in this relationship. And I think there's also a calling for each one to learn how to have that on their own. I think both people in this dynamic had in common was that they weren't as happy or joyful in their life before they met each other. And I think now the challenge is in this separation to maintain that joy. The surrender obsessive thinking, I'm sorry, I do get that this was a lesson that was more learned for the lion ram person, because it has like their energy to it where like I get that you like thought a lot about the jaguar person, because like I was saying, you thought you were blessed or so lucky that they picked you or chose you. But and then I think because you had that mentality that they were better than, or better than you, or more experienced than you, or something more than you, that it kind of created this like always thinking about them and kind of like worried that you might lose them, or worried about what they're thinking about you. I even got like scarcity, a little bit of mindset for this lion ram person, but I think it's come up because you're starting to realize that wasn't serving you. It was stressful. It was not fun to be in that energy. Okay, sorry, I keep having to blow my nose. I'm losing a bit of track with my thoughts. Okay. The other thing that I just want to mention here is like, I think if you say haven't totally realized that this was happening. So it says, if you're obsessing about a person or a situation, turn the dilemma over to spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity on even solve the problem. So I think if you haven't learned this yet, or realized that this was a pattern previously, I think the direction they say you're going in is going to just naturally release it. So don't worry so much about this. I think they're saying like once you see your value and just how amazing you are, then this will just naturally fall away, because it's only happening because of like this training you had in your brain. Like someone told you, like, if someone has this, it's better. If someone does this, they're better. This is like a better person. Like you were kind of taught this hierarchy system is how they keep putting it. And so you just put yourself in a certain place on that hierarchy, and you've put other people higher, but you're learning that the hierarchy doesn't exist. You are beautiful and wonderful. And people are so lucky to have you in their life. So lucky. So I think this one's naturally going to fall away if it hasn't already. And then the surrender procrastination. Now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. It's funny because this one, not feeling like a very strong energy for either one. But then when I see like the perseverance, I think this is just, I think you don't normally have procrastination problems. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but it doesn't feel like it has a lot of the lion ram person's energy on it. I feel like this is just a phase that won't last. But, or like maybe you go through this very, very rarely. Like it just doesn't feel like true to this person. But when I saw the perseverance, I feel like if this was a breakup, and I'm sorry, but the energy I'm picking up on is like the black jaguar kind of detached from this relationship or became emotionally unpresent in this relationship. And so the reason why they're telling me that might have happened is one, is just natural. It was just like a thing that was going to happen. It was going to create lessons. And I really think the Black Dragon was here to activate this lion person. And like I said, it feels like a past life relationship. Feels like kind of like one of those tricky soulmates where you have an agreement to come in each other's life, but it kind of creates a lot of like problems or bring a lot of problems to light, and then that's what causes the growth. So it's not always like a fun, happy, loving all the time kind of soul contract. And I think that's just what this one is. It has very much that energy where it leaves you with a lot of questions and confusion. And same with this person, they don't even understand, I think, as much about why they did what they did. They have a lot of mystery to them. That's why I also think this is like, everyone watching this might be this pile, because this person's pretty it's so interesting because like it says light warrior, the goddess of compassion. Like they're great people, but I think they have like a lot of wounding and they're really kept to themselves and they feel so mysterious. Like even reading their energy, you feel like it's hard to read. It's very guarded. And I even think that's why this relationship wouldn't have worked out in the long run, because I can tell the lion ram person is going to be this very like heart-centered, open, loving, wears their emotion on their sleeve type of person. And the black jaguar feels like someone who will always be a bit guarded and armored. Not forever, but I mean, as far as they show me, it will be like that. So just, it wouldn't be compatible in the long run because you would want to go, deeper than what they could allow. And I think that's even might be what attracted you to them a little bit, is the mystery. Like that lure. There we go. It's like you were like lured in. I don't know. I can't say a word right now. By that like kind of mystery and excitement and that karmic relationship energy. So I kind of get like this, kind of felt like a little bit like a drug high, like you needed them. It's always interesting when you get those relationships because they're so addictive. They feel so good, but then they often can leave you feeling these horrible lows. And I think that's kind of what's happened for this pile, is where it's saying like you just, it can feel really, really low from this like ending. Or like I said, I would even be surprised if this like person, this black jaguar, stopped talking to you, because that's the energy that I have, is that if they got like overwhelmed or didn't feel good about something, they just close off. But if you're like, but they're such a great person, I do see that. Like they are saying like, look at this, like they have amazing cards, amazing directions they're going in. But on an emotional level though, they do just shut down in romantic partnerships, I should say. And that might even be the difference. For the Black Jaguar, everything I see is very much working for the people, but there isn't any cards talking about them
developing or working on their personal relationships or romantic relationships. So I just don't think they're in a place where they're going to be prioritizing a romantic relationship that would go as deep as this person would like. So anyways, get back onto the procrastination card. I think because of like kind of the hurt this pile is feeling from the, I want to say like just the stop of communication or the ghosting that Black Jaguar might have done to you. I think it's just like saying like, just because you're feeling down or low, don't not do things that are great for you. Like, don't not meet up with your friends. Don't not be around loving, amazing people or do things that make you happy because you're feeling low. The best way to get out of that feeling is to get out of that environment, get out of that space, go be with people who love you and can kind of remind you of your higher calling, as it says here. So I want to actually read these cards. It says, you have many gifts. No problems can withstand the power of your mind. With patience, you can reach your mountain top. Never give up, and good luck will follow. And then here we have, you have within you all the courage you need. Let go of the past and reclaim your majesty. You will find success and contentment with those by your side. Make noble choices for your life and your tribe. So I think this even goes to show, like it's saying like lions are like tribe animals. And I just think in these rams, you don't ever usually see goats in the mountains here by themselves. They're always in a big pack. And I think that's just really the calling for this pile. Is their advice for you is to not separate yourself. Don't procrastinate about seeing your friends or doing things that make you feel good. Go and do that. Find the joy. And although this is really hard because I do feel like you put so much, like I'm going to say, like you kind of put this jaguar on a pedestal. Like you thought they were the best thing that could ever happen to you. But I actually think that you are in some ways going to evolve to be in by your standards better than them, and that's such a weird thing to say, but like I feel like this person, this Black Jaguar, and I think the reason why I don't even really get any information from this person is because they're saying like this isn't really who they were, this is how you perceive them. A warrior of light, like the goddess of compassion. They recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity, compassion, angel with a conviction. They walk through life with confidence and grace. You have you have power from beyond the world. Focus on what you really want. You can create your dreams. So I think the reason why I don't feel called to really read much about this Black Jaguar is because I think this is the dream. This is your perception of them. I think if I actually did a card reading just on them, I think they would look very different. I actually like, it's funny because I almost see like the under the surface of this Black Jaguar, I get that they had a lot of childhood trauma that they're dealing with. They have a lot of internal battles that they're dealing with. I think they might even have a little bit of depression, not a lot of confidence, and they're just very human. Like nothing about that makes them bad people. But I think the reason why they fell away from this connection was because basically they don't do their own personal work. They're not in a place where they can. So they they just like run away when they get uncomfortable. I think like if you were looking up this person's attachment styles, they would be an avoidant attachment style. They literally run away when things get hard. This one, of course, if you're looking at your attachment style, you wouldn't be a secure one, unfortunately, not yet, but I think you're headed there. You would be the anxious attachment style, and I think that's where the obsessive thinking is coming from, that card. That's pretty much standard anxious attachment style. I don't know if this pile's ever heard about those attachment styles, but maybe even look into that because it might give you some peace. Because usually it seems like anxious people kind of worship the avoidant attachment, and I don't know why. It just seems to be a common pattern that the attachments fall into, because I think these people seem mysterious. They seem like great. They seem like everything we want, but they're actually just falling to pieces on the inside. They can't handle confronting any of it, so they run away from it. And I think that in itself is why this person has stopped talking to you. It's just because they're going into their pattern of feeling something not great, something they don't know. So it could be like they could feel like this relationship's ending, so they ghost you because then they're in control of that. And then they don't have to deal with that. If you broke up with them, then they might have to deal with those emotions. Yeah, I think that might actually even be it, because I was kind of saying that and now everything's gone out of my brain. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that there, because I really do think that this isn't honoring like who they really are and what's really going on within them. And the other thing I just want to mention is about this card here. So it has come up before. I think it was in a different deck. But anyways, this basically is like a Japanese goddess of the sun, I would say, or of light. And she felt, I can't quite remember the right words, so sorry if it's not 100% accurate, but it was like she didn't feel valued or like she was that important. So she went into a cave, and she like locked herself there, and then everything in the world was in darkness. And then the only way she would come out is when a mirror was put in front of her, and she thought that that light was so beautiful and so amazing. And then when she realized it was her, she saw her like value, and she realized that like when she went in that cave because she didn't think she was good enough or she didn't think she was bright enough, she realized that she like took the light from the world. Like she was the light. And I think this is like an analogy that would be so good for this person, because it's like, I don't think you see your value. And I've been saying this, I guess, this whole card reading, but like I see that you were the light in this relationship. You were the beautiful thing. You were the thing that made things lighter and easier. But I don't think you totally saw that or understood it, and you thought it was all coming from this black jaguar soul. But I think it was really coming from you. So this is coming up for the direction you're heading in, and realizing that you are just a beautiful light of joy to the world and the people around you, and to not hide yourself or take yourself out of society or out of your friends' lives because of how you're feeling right now, and know that like you do bring more light to the world. So don't feel bad if you're wanting to see your friends or your tribe to feel better. Like, you also make them feel better, and you bring them so much joy, and they really do love you and value you. So you just get that this pile might, maybe you stop seeing your friends as much in this relationship, and you're not sure if they want to hear you talk about this person leaving you again or something like that. And it's saying, just don't think about that, because you're so loved by these people, and they so love having you. And they just want to see you happy. And they want to see you being joyful. So if being with them, I think, will make you joyful, because they remind you of who you are and the best parts of you that are there that you don't always see, then being with your friends right now, I think, is so key for this pile. Okay. I think I'm going to leave this card reading here. I hope that brought some clarity. I feel like this is one of those things where you wanted like more details about why exactly they left. But honestly, from what I can see, is that they just have their own trauma, their own limiting beliefs. Like you had yours, where you thought they were so great, and maybe they just got bored of you or tired of you. I don't know. That's all like a story though. That's what they're saying. That's not real. You had nothing to do with it. This person definitely has a block when it comes to emotional connection and intimacy, and it just got triggered, and because of their attachment style, instead of confronting it or talking about it, they run. So that's, I think, why they're gone. They just got like scared, they got worried, maybe they felt a little bit of love for you, and last time they felt in love, they got hurt, so they ran. It could be so many things like that. But what I get is that you were really just supposed to learn how valuable you are and how beautiful you are. And that's why this relationship came in, and that's why it's going, is because everything you thought this black jagger was, you are. You're that beautiful soul. Okay. Now you guys take care of yourself. Don't procrastinate meeting your friends. Don't procrastinate doing the things that make you feel good. Those things are so important, and you're so deserving of that. You did nothing wrong in this relationship. You're just human, having a human experience, and it's just important for you to know how beautiful you are.
Okay, pile 3, so you all chose this piece of blue howlite, and you may or may not already know that howlite is really good for calming us down, for helping us take a step back and see the situation for how it is, to help us be easier on ourselves and others, and really just encourages us to have some compassion for both us and ourselves, or us and others, sorry. And then obviously the blue color is good for helping with communication blocks and the throat chakra. So that might be some of the reasons why you were drawn to that stone. And so let's take a look at person 1, the energy they're in. We have dolphin play. And then we have the direction they're heading in is Queen of the Wilderness and the Goddess of Sanctuary. Person number 2, we have Tiger, which is fire. So funny. I see this is a very water card and a very fire card. The direction they're going in. The Mother of God, courage, and the divine. And then we have Goddess of all that flows. Funny that they got the water goddess and that this one got the fire one. And then I have to be honest, for the lessons learned and being learned in this relationship, this was like so many cards that I was almost wondering if I should put some back, but I decided to keep them all. So we have support and love, low self-esteem, passion, spirit, and trust. Okay, so for this pile, I could get the impressions that it could be a divorced pile or someone who is getting divorced. Or it could just be long-term friends that are going separate ways. But those are the main energies I'm getting. It's funny, I actually, instead of talking about person 1, I kind of want to talk about person 2 right away. So first it says Tiger, fire. I choose to be unstoppable. My passion is my power. I am bold. I am brave. Mighty forces come to my aid. And then here it says, I'm blessed. My courage gives birth to divine. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. Really, the energy I'm getting from the tiger person is that they've totally changed who they are. So I think that's why I was getting a bit of divorced energy here, where whoever the tiger person is, I think they've just like something happened, an incident, or they read something or something where they had a perspective shift, a perspective change, and that was kind of like this small thought that changed everything. Like it changed how they saw things, it changed what they wanted for themselves, the experiences they wanted to have. But it feels like on an identity level. Like it's not just that they felt like they weren't doing things they wanted to do. I think like they feel unrecognizable almost from who they used to be. Different values now, different
desires, and it's interesting that there's so much focus around the heart. So this, it's funny because I actually do get this would maybe be more masculine energy. It doesn't have to be, of course, but how they're like showing me is that it almost seems like this is someone's husband, or yeah, sorry, it's just the dominant energy. So like I said, you always just have to trust whatever resonates because it is a general pick a card. But this feels almost like this is somebody's husband, and all of a sudden they heard something, a concept, something woke them up, and now they want to do things that are honoring their heart, like honoring who they are in their heart center. So it's not just like in their head anymore, not what they felt pressured or like the role they thought they should be in. It feels very much like they are now following yeah, I keep saying their heart, but it's exactly that. They're following what their heart's asking them for, and they feel very inspired and very set and focused on that. If this was a marriage, though, I think it was a pretty long marriage. I don't think it was like a short little 2-year thing or something like that. You think this is something that where these people were together for a long time. And I even see how they've worn on each other, like with the person's energy being very watery and this person's being very fiery, but then like the fiery is in the direction this person's going and the water's in the direction that the water person in the fire person's going. Like there's like so much influence from each other. That feels like it's gone very deep, and it's almost feeling like they've inspired this in each other. And the interesting thing here is, though, is like I know this card reading is supposed to be for people who have lost connection or lost a relationship, but I don't get the impression that this relationship's over or lost communication. Maybe it's just changed in its dynamics, because I almost feel like if these two people are separating, they're separating from a very conscious level, and they've had a conversation about it, and they're going like, this is no longer what I want, this is no longer what I want, and then they're like stepping out of this relationship as friends or with like some sort of explanation. So I'm a little confused about why it's coming up for this card reading and why it's coming up for this pile, because I feel like it doesn't really go with the topic I asked. But I guess I'll just go with it. Maybe someone just wants to know from a card reading perspective about why it's ending. Yeah, it's so interesting because there's like a very small thing that's like, for this is something you just have to trust if it's for you, because this is definitely not the general energy. It's just a specific message where I think for someone here, like maybe your partner sort of switched teams. That's kind of what they're saying. Like maybe instead of dating men or dating women, now they're gonna date like another woman or another man. Like it's so interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if there's someone here in that situation, and that's the energy where it seems very friendly, where there was a lot learned, but this person is like awoken and is changed, and now they're gonna follow their heart and be true to it. Sorry. Yeah, really interesting. And then this dolphin person, let's talk a little bit about them. It says, dolphin and play. Swim in happy joy of living. Inhale confidence and exhale fear. Dive into your wisdom and go with the flow. So it's very interesting. I do think it's like the dolphin person's been pretty consistent in their life. I do get that they're pretty like fun, easygoing, but still very human. So like when it says let go of fear, I feel like there was like the fear of like this relationship changing or ending, but knowing in some ways that it was for the best, but also just having like a very human reaction of fear, because I think this relationship has been a thing for a long time. But I just feel like that the dolphin person's pretty strong, stronger than they realize, and that, what can I say? Like, they've always been in their joy. They've always been true to themselves. They've always been very happy. And I think that could even be part of the good influence they've had on this tiger person, is because I don't think the tiger person was doing all that for themselves, but the dolphin person maybe in some ways inspired that within the tiger person, and that could even be why they had a hard time like leaving this relationship or being honest about how they felt in this relationship. Yeah, but let's see, the direction that the dolphin person is going, it says, no matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary is found within me. The language of the natural world is a frequency of love. This is my mother tongue. So yeah, I actually, if I'm being honest, it's always hard to tell, but I just go by majority energy. It feels more like the dolphin person is the person watching this pile. And these are more like things for the dolphin person. And then the tiger person is the person that you were in relationship with, because they're not saying as much about them. They're just giving me like a very general thing. But like I said, it's always just majority energy that I go by in general card readings. Okay, so sorry, I just occasionally have to pause the video to blow my nose because it's kind of disgusting and I didn't want to leave that in the video. Okay, so on that note of it being more of a dominant energy, that it's the dolphin person inquiring, I'm gonna talk a little bit more from that perspective. So how I see like all these lessons you learned and why they're even talking about all this is that I get that for you, dolphin person, that the tiger, although maybe they were not feeling totally true to themselves or following their heart or being brave and like being truly who they are, they were like someone who was a security for you. Like they came home, they were very reliable. Like I get just like sorry, like it is really saying that this was a very masculine energy, so I almost get that it was like a person who was very strong in the masculine role. Like they were the provider, they were reliable, they did everything that they thought they were supposed to do, and maybe at the time you didn't realize that they didn't even really enjoy those things. They just did them because they felt like that was like what would make them a good person. That was their job. That's what they felt accountable for. So I think for you, there's a little bit of like this grieving process of being like, well, I think you've always been quite true to you. And you are a little confused about this person and like how they felt like this whole time, and maybe how you didn't know it. And I can feel like how the ground could maybe feel a little unstable for you. But they're just saying to know that like they keep coming back to this, that you're so strong and you've always been like the thing that like held everything together for you. Like although it seemed like they were like your rock, you were always the rock. You were the joyful one. You were the one living in your truth. You were the one living in your heart. You're the one what's the word, just following, they keep saying that, like following your heart, following what you knew was right, following your intuition. There we go, that was the word I was looking for. So they're just saying like a little reminder that you, to know that you were always that for yourself, that you've got this. And I think they just, the thing they keep talking about is like how great you are at like still loving life and still finding the joy in things, and always having been good at hearing what your body wants from you is like something they're saying, like been very good at following your emotions and feeling your emotions, which maybe some people gave you a hard time for, but I think now like this tiger person is being influenced by that. Like they could see how you could handle the emotions you had and use them to your advantage, and you didn't see them as like a hindrance, where they're learning that now how to navigate that. So things that this relationship did bring in for you, or you learned from it. So I do get like surrender to trust. So I think you learned how to trust. I think now you're probably going through a journey a little bit again of like this coming up. So I think you did trust them. You learned trust in this relationship, and in the receiving and support, and receiving support and love. I think this is things that you felt in this, but I think they're coming up again because, like I said, I just get the impression that this person left because, or are leaving because, they just didn't feel, they felt like they were living a lie, is maybe the words they're going to use. They weren't being true to themselves. They don't know who they are. and they want to go find that out. And I think they are a few years behind. Like, I do think for this pal, you could be a little bit older, like, or this person at least could be in their 40s, maybe even 50s, but I think more 40s. Okay. Anyways, getting too sidetracked into that. But I'm seeing how, like, my whole point behind that was that, like, there's like this questioning block. Like, you didn't know that that was how they were feeling for years. Was this all true? Was it a lie? Like, what is real? What isn't real? And I think there's like some of these things coming up, which is so natural to be experiencing. So they're just saying, like, you're coming, like, trust and receiving support and love is like some blocks that are coming up and some lessons that you're going to relearn because it has been like questioned by this person. So it says, trust yourself in your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. I like that this talks about confidence because over here it also talks about inhale confidence and exhale fear. Like right now you're in a time where you're a little more like susceptible to hearing other people's opinions. And I'm going to say susceptible because I think, like I was saying, you have always been so good at following your intuition, and you know what's best for you. You know what's best for your family. You know what's best for everyone in your family group. And they're just saying, like, because other people, because of this happening, if this is a divorce or someone leaving, people are going to think that they can tell you, they're going to put their fears on you. There you go. It's just going to be a natural thing. They're going to mean it out of love, but they're going to accidentally put their fears on you, and you're in a more susceptible place to maybe hear that because it might play on your own fears. But they're saying, don't pay attention to that. Trust yourself. Trust that this person was being as sincere as they could to you because they didn't know themselves. They actually didn't know, really. And that seems so hard to believe for someone like yourself who is so certain in who they are and knows who they are. And also the surrender low self-esteem. I think this is another thing that's going to be coming up because of this, because of what is happening in this. It's also very human. But your guides, of course, never want you to not feel strong and like beautiful and amazing like you are. So here it says you deserve success. You deserve love. You deserve abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. So they just so want the best for you. Like, it's so funny. Like, I feel like I keep saying it again and again. But like, they're saying, like, you were not fooled. You were not tricked. This person did not know themselves. They just keep saying that. They did not know themselves. And once they figured out who they were, it took them a little bit of courage and a little bit of time. But they could come to you and confess it and talk to you, I think. Hopefully I'm picking up that energy right. And they're saying, like, don't be ashamed. Don't be mean on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Because you are just a beautiful, beautiful being, and you've got this. Like, you were not deceived. They just did not know themselves. They did not know. It's a very weird concept to explain. They did not know themselves. And you are just a beautiful, beautiful, friendly, loving, outgoing, extroverted, beautiful person who brings so much love and joy into other people's lives. That's what they keep saying. Like, you're just such a social person. You care. And I mean, some of you might be like, no, I'm introverted, but you really do enjoy like one-on-one connections. You enjoy really knowing people and really seeing them. And that's what they're talking about. And that, like, play, like, you bring joy to other people living. Like, it's just so beautiful. So they're just so sad. Like, guides are always so sad when we feel like this, because they're just like, if you could see yourself through our eyes, you would know how loved you are and how great you are. And then these would just disappear. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that easy for all of us. So they're just trying to convey that to you the best they can, that you're so strong. Be confident, be proud of yourself, be like, don't be ashamed of who you are and the experiences you've gone through, because you're amazing and you bring so much joy to people. And to like dull your light in any way or think you're not good in any way is just a shame for the world, because they they get so much value out of you being a confident, playful, joyous version of yourself. So here we have surrender to passion. Get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly. Focus on the people or activities that ignite your passions and let it flow. This is great. This really goes with this whole fire theme down here, and I think this is what they're all talking about. Going out in nature more, connected with nature, somewhere where there's lots of trees and I see butterflies and little Tweety birds and feeling really like grounded and secure. That's going to help with that feeling unstable. Like if you've been feeling like the ground underneath your feet is no longer there, spend more time in nature. Not city parks unless they're very isolated and very treed, and you don't have the perception of being in the city. Better to go to the actual woods, the actual forests. That's gonna help, I think. Yeah, I really think so. And that's gonna help recharge you, refocus you, and I feel like you feel clearer there, and you feel more secure is the word they're using. You feel more secured and supported. And I think it's gonna it's gonna trigger like a sensation of joy and excitement within you, and it's gonna make things clear. Maybe once you leave, things are a little unclear again, and they're saying then go for a walk every day in the forest if that's what you need. Like just take care of what you need to get that clear sight of who you are and what you want for yourself, and that like passion, that joy that you normally just honestly like produce out in the world. Radiate in the world is the word I was looking for. Surrender to spirit. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. So there we go. It's literally just like your guides coming in and saying like, they so have your back. They think you're so beautiful, and they just think you're so amazing. And they really don't want to see you in this low rut, but they understand that there's a process you have to go through. There's like a grieving, there's like just like a catch up, because I feel like you were really caught off guard by this dynamic. And like I said, I think I felt like there was years and years here. So don't lose your joy, don't lose your light. Go for nature walks. Know that like your guides are so rooting for you, and they're so like ready to support you and like bring you little daily miracles if that's what it takes. Like I almost feel like they're like, we'd send like a kind stranger to you when we can, or like a guy who will buy you a coffee in line, like they pay it forward to you, and they're just saying that they're just going to be so with you in the smallest ways, but know that it's them supporting you and encouraging you. Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to ask if there's anything else for this pile. Maybe I'll just pull a card from this Whispers of Love deck, asking if there's any last minute guidance for this pile moving forward. Okay, and let's take this one. Be authentic. Be real and true to who you are and how you feel. That's really nice summary. So, yeah, I also really like that they have like little otters here, like little loving people. So I think this is kind of what they're talking about. Like you need to grieve the relationship for how you saw it and how you felt and how it was. And then, it's so interesting. Sorry, I just got so distracted. And then also, you gotta like grieve the dream you had for it, the dream you had for this relationship, the like where you thought it was going, where you thought it would take you. You just need time to feel that out, and like keep saying the words, grieve it, like feel all your feelings around it, and that will be the best way, because you don't want to like jam it down and feel gross or like suppress it and always be bitter about it. Just really feel your way through it, and every day will be different, and every experience can be different for you, but it's all okay, it's all good, it's all you. Okay, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for this pile. I just wish you the best of luck. You know, your guides are just really saying you're so wonderful. Don't forget to be smiling. Don't forget to just love life, because that's what you do best. You're so strong. You're so good at bringing happiness to the people around you. And they don't want to see you lose your smile because of this, but they also don't want to see you not take the time to grieve when you need for this loss of experience. Okay, you all have a beautiful day. I'm wishing you the best of luck, and you've got this.